Okay folks, I'm going to walk everybody through the internals on the machine. What I call the internals. The quill gear and the worm screw and the bearings and all that stuff. I'm going to cover it. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I don't do this very often because there's not really a large history on an AMMCO 3000 or 4000 of this assembly ever really having an issue. 50, 75 years old. These things don't have problems here as a general rule. It's very rare if they do, but I'm going to walk you through what's going on inside here. In most cases, I wouldn't even take this apart in a normal rebuild. If I would see how it felt, check the condition of it, make sure there was no metal in the oil when I changed the oil, which there wasn't. I'm just taking this apart to show everybody what it's supposed to be going on in here and where, when I do see problems, where the problems arise from. I'll cover this whole thing. Okay, when you take this bad boy off, be careful with these paper gaskets. These paper gaskets, the tear is not a big deal. Don't lose the gaskets. It's very important that gasket isn't for sealing. It's just to set the end plate on this portion of the machine, on the quill gear, to make sure it doesn't wander back and forth. The clearance on that quill gear is really kind of a pain in the ass to figure out. It's only supposed to have like 3/1000ths of thrust play in it, but to measure it you have to go in through this hole here and pry everything with a screwdriver. It's just a huge pain in the butt to figure it out. For most machines, you're never going to have to deal with it, and if you do, just put it back exactly like it was. They have gaskets. If your gaskets get completely shredded, you can order brand new gaskets and make that clearance the same. If you're changing the cover because somebody snapped off one ear, that's another story, and going through and setting that whole thing up is like a multi-hour process that I'm not going to ever put on video anyway. I'm just showing you what's going on in there. All I really want anybody playing with out of all this stuff is this set screw. That thing can come loose. It's very rare, but it does happen. I'm going to just go in there and make sure it's tight, and it's tight, and that's really never going to have an issue. That's what the quill gear looks like on the inside. That's what it's supposed to look like. That thing's got no wear and tear on it, and this machine is way older than me. Really, honestly, guys, very rare to have a problem in here, and if you do, you should probably leave that to somebody who's played with this before. Now, about this. People are always asking me questions about what's with the slop there. The way that this was adjusted so that that gear and this gear meshed correctly so that that didn't wear out was either on the very early machines like this one, they ground this shaft down so that it fit, or on the later machines, they simply put more shims behind this plate to raise and lower the shaft literally by loosening up the tension between the two tapered bearings would drop the shaft down. I know it sounds cockamamie. That's what they did, and it worked. I would come up with a new plan and do it like they did on the old ones if it was needed, but the way they did it with adjusting the shaft up and down by loosening the bearings, the tension between the two tapered bearings, worked without any issues. So I never mess with it. Whatever shims are behind here, that's what shims I'm going to put back in there every time. If I replace the shaft on a very old machine, like this machine, if I did have to replace one of these shafts, I would have to put it on the lathe and turn down the outer diameter of the worm screw so that it didn't bottom out in the groove, and then it wouldn't have any problem. Or I could add shims there, but I don't really like doing that. If it's an old machine, I'll leave it just like it was and set it up with a turned down worm screw, and I won't have any problems with it that way. Okay, thanks. I'm greasy now.